Class and Dr. B. Today I want to talk to you about the social media app that we all have a love-hate relationship for, Facebook. The latest and greatest Facebook news was leaked last week that a third-party app developer had improperly sold the personal data of up to 50 million Facebook users, most of which were in the U.S., sold their information to a political consulting group called Cambridge Analytica, which we now know did some election work for Donald Trump's presidential campaign back in 2016. The Facebook founder and CEO, which many of us know as Mark Zuckerberg, apologized last Wednesday for Facebook's role in what is now being called the Cambridge Analytica situation. Zuckerberg told the CNN that it was a major breach of trust and is really sorry that it happened. He said we have a basic responsibility to protect people's data, and he also was claiming that Facebook is working to make sure this doesn't happen again. A little more background on the whole situation and how it's unfolded. In 2013, Cambridge University created a quiz app that roughly 300,000 people downloaded and took this quiz, and they shared their data as well as some of their friends' data. They're now finding out that it was a lot of their friends' data. And then moving forward in 2014, Zuckerberg said that Facebook was going to change the platform to limit the data app's access to prevent abusive apps that would prevent any app like this one from being able to access much of the data that we're seeing happening today. In 2015, the Facebook co-founder said that the data was shared with Cambridge Analytica. So remember, this was a different company who pulled the data and then shared it with what is Cambridge Analytica, and then Facebook finally banned the app. Facebook also learned that both the quiz creator, his name is Kogan, and Cambridge Analytica may not have deleted the files like they said that they were going to before. And this was definitely a breach of trust. And so Zuckerberg went on CNN and said that he would be willing to testify before Congress regarding the data breach if it's the right thing to do. And if you know anything about Mark Zuckerberg, he's not really one for being in the media. So maybe there's some authenticity this time behind that. I'll be happy to hear you be the judge of that. And so then moving forward on April 11th, so next week, Mark Zuckerberg is going to testify before the heads of the Energy and Commerce Committee, who is Republican Representative Greg Walden from Oregon, and Representative Frank Malone, who is from New Jersey. And he said that his goal is going to be to shed some light on the privacy issues and help users understand what happened with their data and their online privacy. So it goes on to say that this probably won't be the only time that he will testify, as we all know that the Senate will probably want their own hearing. And actually the Republican chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Chuck Grassley, has already called him to testify. So we'll see what happens with that. So as a result of all of this being leaked, this made Facebook shares drop 8%. So that's about 46 million of the company's share market value since this news was first published. So it definitely plummeted. And so a lot of us want to know, well, what are you going to do to fix this from happening in the future? And from the articles that I read, several things that have been said were going to happen, such as they're going to create a new privacy policy that's going to clarify its data collection and use. They said that it will ban developers who don't agree to an audit. An app's developer will no longer have access to data from people who haven't used the app in 3 months. So this data will be limited to users' profiles, names, email, unless the developer signs a contract with Facebook saying that they approve of being audited. Facebook said it will inform people whose data was misused by apps. So remember, in that timeline, this happened several years ago. So why they're just now being informed, I'm not sure, but it says that they will now inform those people. And then they also said that they're going to give their privacy settings menu a makeover and make it easier to navigate. Instead of having to go 20 different places to fix your privacy and security settings, it will hopefully all be in one place. And they said that they will also remove developers' access to people's data if the person hasn't used the app in 3 months. I kind of went over that, but wanted to reiterate. And one thing that was surprising to me, and maybe many of you who don't know it, was that Facebook also has been collecting information about who the person has texted or called and for how long. So they're not collecting the actual contents of your phone calls and your texts, but they're still tracking who it was made to. And it seemed that that was being done without consent, but Facebook went on to say that they collected this data only from Android users who specifically allowed them to do so by signing up and agreeing to the permissions when they installed Facebook. So I'm sure it was in the fine print somewhere. And so they also, a couple more things they said on Wednesday, that they will delete all logs after a year and in the future of that data that they collected from Android users. And the only information this tool will now be able to collect is the data it needs to operate, and not broader data such as the time of the calls. And lastly, they're going to remove the option to search for users by entering an email or a telephone number. This helped people. This option was there to help people find their friends a little easier, but now they're going to do away with that, so they can't collect personal profile information. Okay, so I think that kind of sums it up. We'll see what more Mark Zuckerberg has to say on the issue when he testifies to Congress. But so for right now, my two questions to you are, do you think that Facebook or Mark Zuckerberg will fix this problem? He went on record saying that he has made fixing the company and the data breach his personal challenge for 2018. So do you think he'll actually make enough changes to its policy and setting to protect users' privacy? Or do you think that there will always be the fine print and a workaround? And then my second question is going to be, what concerns does this raise for you if you are a Facebook user, or the people who you know who are Facebook users, as far as getting their personal information? And would knowing this information deter you from using Facebook any more now than you did in the past after hearing all of this? I look forward to hearing your response, and thanks for your time.